Yeah, and what I'm sharing with you is the traditional understanding of Islam. Modern Muslims might tweak this, all kinds of Muslims have their own specific beliefs. But the traditional understanding of Islam is, you can't know. Muhammad himself didn't know whether he would go to heaven, and he'd say to people, pray for me that Allah would look upon me with favor. The only way you can really know is if you died in jihad, if you were waging battle for the sake of Allah. Surah 9, verse 111 is known as the verse of bargain, where Allah says, look, if you give your life for the sake of Islam, then Allah will give you your eternal reward. But that's really the only way you can know.
Wow.
And I began doing the side-by-side comparison. Okay, what's the history of the Quran compared to the Bible? Okay, what's Muhammad's life look like? Now, I had been taught from childhood that Muhammad was the most amazing man who ever existed. I had been taught that Muhammad was a great statesman, a great diplomat, a great general, a great leader. I'd been taught that he was a great husband and a defender of women's rights and a defender of the downtrodden. That's how Muslims see Muhammad. And so when you see Muslims revering Muhammad, that's the man they're revering, this legendary great man. But when I studied the historical evidence, not only was it late and not really reliable, but when I actually looked at what it said, that Muhammad in the pages of history was very different from the Muhammad in the hearts of Muslims.
What kept you seriously considering the claims of Christ in Christianity?
See, Muslims in general, but especially devout Muslims, believe Islam is true. Especially if you come from an Eastern background, it's not just, hey, you believe what you believe, we believe. It's, we are proud that we are following the true faith. Allah has sent Muhammad as the chief of the prophets. The Quran is the inspired word of Allah. This is true, that's why we believe. So it's not a feel-good faith like a lot of people in the West have. And so when someone challenges you and says, no, the Christian faith is true, that keeps you in the game, especially if they keep winning the arguments. Then you're like, how is this possible? How are they able to outwit the truth? And so for me, that's what really mattered. But also it was my friend, right? David was my best friend. And so I couldn't get away from this. It's not like, I could just ignore the arguments. There he was every day in class or afterwards hanging out. And so I was confronted with these facts and issues over and over and over again. There was no way around it.